الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وينهاهم عن المنكر ويحل لهم الطيبات ويحرم عليهم الخبائث صدق الله العظيم ببركة إن الله ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وصل عليه. Alhamdulillah, we are in the masjid today on the day of Friday. Allah Ta'ala accept our sitting today. Allah Ta'ala हमारे गुनाहों को माफ़ फरमाए, मुझे कलमा हक बुलंद करने की तौफीक नसीब फरमाए. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me the tawfiq to say the right and be able to stop people from doing the bad. Ameen. As I announced last week that my topic today is something new. I've not touched on this topic ever. This is the first time I'm doing this topic since I've started Jummahs, Khutbahs. So the topic today is an issue which we as a community face, and not just our elders, our youngsters also face this problem. And they do this at schools, at colleges, at universities. Our elders are also doing the same thing. Every single person in the community somehow, somewhere is doing this issue. I'm just saying this as the mutlaq, I'm not saying every single person. What I mean is majority of people you'll see, they'll be doing this action. What am I talking about? I'm talking about people vaping, people smoking, people taking drugs. These are my three issues I'm going to delve into and try to talk upon. Allah Ta'ala give me the tawfiq. The ayah that I read, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He talks about the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that why he was sent. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He said, وَيَنْهَاهُمْ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, that we sent him so, عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, to forbade people from evil. लोगों को बुराई से मना करना, ये ज़ुर्र सलातु सलाम का पहला मकसद था. This is the first reason why he sallallahu alayhi wasallam was sent. The second one, وَيُحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ, and he made halal for them pure things. Pure things were made halal for people. So for example, your wife, as soon as you marry her, she becomes halal upon you. Animal which was not slaughtered, which is slaughtered in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, becomes halal for you. An animal which is not slaughtered stays haram. An animal, even if it was a halal animal, but it was dead, मुर्दा, that animal is haram. मुर्दा जानवर, चाहे वो हलाल जानवर हो, अगर वो मुर्दा है, वो जानवर हलाल नहीं. It is not halal for you to eat that. For example, a sheep was dead, you saw it dead, it is still haram. You are not allowed to touch that animal, it is haram to eat. This is what the maqasid, one of the reasons the Prophet ﷺ came. وَيُحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ, that he makes halal things pure for you. Then he says, Quran says, وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ, and he made haram upon them filthy things. Filthy things, khaba'ith means filth. Those khabith things which we have to stay away from, the Prophet ﷺ was sent so that we stay away from them. He made them haram. So for example, watching the haram, talking about the haram, listening to the haram, or on your Instagram, on your TikToks, on your Twitter accounts, on your Reddit accounts, on your Facebook accounts, on your Instagram accounts, all of them, Jinnabi and Snapchat. If someone is watching haram, sharing haram, these are all those things He sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sent down to make haram. وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ, He came down to make khaba'ith, filthy things haram. That you stay away from these things. So, this and the end part, يُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ, this is where vaping, smoking, drugs comes in. That these things They all come under khaba'is, filthy things. Now, before I delve into this, we firstly need to understand what is addiction. A person who's addicted to anything, it could be smoking, it could be looking at the haram, it could be some people have an addiction to masturbating, some people have an addiction of looking at the opposite gender. These are all those addictions. Now, what is an addiction? You need to understand this point, and then we move on forward. Addiction is that thing which affects the brain and affects your behavior. This is an addiction. So someone who has a habit of smoking, but when he tries to come out of it, he tries to stay away from smoking, what happens? It affects him, that he's not able to handle it. We have people that when you ask them to not smoke, they say, we're going to go into a mental crisis if we don't smoke. Some people, they've taken smoking to such a level, इतना आगे चले सिगरेट पीने में कि उनका पेशाब नहीं निकलता जब तक स्मोक ना करें. They can't even do a toilet until they don't smoke. This is the extreme level where we take smoking to. And then there are those people, Ramadan mein, they'll be fasting 20 hours. As soon as iftari comes, mashallah, the iftari is with smoking. Subhanallah. We're supposed to open our iftari with khujur, they're opening the iftari with cigarette. Subhanallah. Nare takbir ji. Kya baat hai ji. Right? Banda dua mangda hai ki ji, Ya Allah mere roza kabul farma, Ya Allah mere gunah maaf farma. Hazrat sahab, cigarette na lagav kar rahe hain. Kya baat hai ji. Right? And then we say, Ramzan kya, don't change. Har qadam to pehle siddhi karo. Right? Make your these habits, take them out of you first. That you're opening your roza with cigarette. What benefit do you give to your roza? What benefit do you give to Ramadan? And then those same people, they'll have a cigarette and then they'll come into masjid for Taraweeh namaz. And then the smell of the cigarette is in the masjid, it affects the people around them as well. And then it affects the angels as well that are in the masajid. Angels in the masajid, they get affected by the smell that we bring in. Now if someone is smoking or someone is vaping and then he comes straight into the masjid, what message are you trying to give? What benefit do you get for doing that? No benefit at all. So this is one thing we need to understand, addiction. Is that if it affects your behavior, that when you don't do it, it affects you mentally, then that means you are addicted to that thing. आप उस चीज़ में मुलव्वस हैं, उस चीज़ से निकलना आपके लिए मुश्किल हो रहा है. इस चीज़ को पहले समझें. Then, some people say, Haji, it's not mentioned in the Quran and Hadith that smoking is haram. It's not mentioned in Hadith that vaping, give us a hukum of vaping, give us a hukum of smoking. So let's start with the Hadith. What did the Prophet ﷺ say? I've got two Hadiths here I'm going to mention. First Hadith, both are from Imam Nawawi alayhi rahmah's Arba'in Nawawi. He's collected 40 ahadith, small ahadith, sahih ahadith, all correct hadith. First one. عن الحسن بن أبي طالب رضي الله عنهما. We're talking about Imam Hasan Mujtaba رضي الله تعالى عنه. He said, قال حفظت من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said, I memorized from the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. ये देखे मेरे आका की तरबियत. He's making his grandson learn hadith, memorize hadith. Something we should learn. Teach our children to memorize hadith, the calls of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. Our children know raps, our children know songs, hatta ke 2-year-old, 3-year-old, no wheels on the bus go round and round, no baby shark. But when it comes to hadith, when it comes to Quran, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, no clue at all. And then we say, my child is still young. No, this is no excuse. No excuse. That your child knows wheels on the bus round and round, but when it comes to hadith, no clue. This means our tarbiyat is wrong. Hamari tarbiyat galt hai. Look, our ulama from the past were able to memorize the Quran like this. For example, Imam Malik Raziyallahu Ta'ala an, at the age of 7 saal ki umar mein, he comes to Imam Abu Hanifa Raziyallahu Ta'ala an. This is for those hifz students who say that I can't do hifz, I haven't got time to do my hifz. Imam Malik Raziyallahu Ta'ala an, Imam Muhammad, he comes to Imam Abu Hanifa. Remember, Imam Abu Hanifa has two main students, Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad. So Imam Muhammad at the age of 7, he comes to Imam Abu Hanifa to learn Deen, Islam. आप आए इमाम अबू हनीफा के पास 7 साल की उम्र में, he says मैंने दीन पढ़ना है, I want to learn the deen. Imam Abu Hanifa says go and memorize the Quran. पहले कुरान याद करके आओ जुबानी, फिर हम तुम्हें दीन पढ़ाएंगे. Then we will teach you the deen. After 7 days Imam Muhammad comes back. 7 दिन बाद इमाम मोहम्मद फिर वापस आए इमाम अबू हनीफा के पास. कहा इमाम साहब मुझे दीन पढ़ाएं. इमाम साहब teach me the deen. Imam Abu Hanifa says go and memorize the Quran. इमाम मोहम्मद कहने लगे मैंने पूरा कुरान हिफ्ज कर लिया है. I have memorized the whole Quran. This is those people who were able to memorize the Quran like that. Why? Because there was no disturbance in that time. Nothing disturbed them. Our children, hours upon hours upon the phone. Hours upon hours upon the phone. If that same time was used for the deen, imagine where they will get to. The thinking point. Khair. So, Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba raziyallahu ta'ala, he said, قال حفظت من رسول الله. I learned from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam what? Da ma yuribuk ila ma la yuribuk. He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he taught me to leave those things which are doubtful to those things which are not. वो चीज जो हमें शिकवे में डाले, they put us in doubt, leave those things and go towards those things which are undoubtful. जिसमें कोई शक नहीं, वो चीज करो. जिसमें शक है उसको छोड़ दो. Leave that. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam is teaching is that doubtful things, leave them. Now, smoking, vaping, taking drugs, right? Are they doubtful or not? Simple answer, yes. Are they doubtful? Obviously they're doubtful. Why? Because they harm our body. Someone smoking, how much harm does he bring to his lungs? Someone vaping, how much harm does he bring to his lungs and his heart? I'll come to that. What scientists have said in regards to vaping. People think that if I vape is better than smoking. अगर मैं vape करूं, ये smoking से थोड़ा सा बेहतर है. It's a bit better because it's not as harmful. But this is wrong. I'll give you the statistics, what the scientists have said in regards to vaping. Now, next hadith. And Sayyid al-Khudri radhiyallahu ta'ala, famous sahabi. He said, Anna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam qal. Huzur ne salatu wasalam ishad farmaya, La dharara wa la dhirara. There's no dharar, there's no dhirar. Matlab, haram की तरफ जाना नहीं और फिर उस हराम में मुलविस नहीं होना. Not to do the haram and not to again indulge yourself in that haram. He sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is teaching. Now, smoking. What is the fatwa on smoking? I'm giving you clear cut fatwa now. जो smoking करने के आदी है या vaping करने के आदी है उनके लिए. Smoking, according to the ulama that I follow, it is makruh tahrimi. Severely disliked. Meaning, what does that mean? Someone who does it once, he smokes once, for example, it is a small sin, छोटा गुनाह है. मगर makruh tahrim को बार बार करना, doing a disliked amal again and again becomes haram. It becomes haram, that action becomes haram. Now, smoking, those people who smoke, like I said, makruh tahrimi. और जो लोग बार बार स्मोक कर, इसका मतलब ये है कि वो हराम काम कर रहे हैं. They are doing a haram action. और फिर उसी हराम के साथ मस्जिद में आना, उसी हराम के साथ नमाज पढ़ना, उसी हराम के साथ दूसरे फ़ाल करना, right? What harm are you giving to you? What are you doing to yourself? अपनी जान को अब क्या कर रहे हैं? That you are smoking. People say I can't smoke. Then I've seen people here, सांस नहीं निकल रहा, they're coughing. I mean, you speak to them, Hazrat Sahab, आपके फेफड़ों का मसला हो रहा है, your lungs are being infected. Why can't you stop? I just can't stop. I can't stop. You just can't. And then how much are they paying? I'm going to come to that as well. Vaping, people think that the cost is less. Vaping has a cost as well. How much we're paying to vaping as well. So, now, what does the effects of vaping? People say that it is less harmful if I vape. There's an organization in the NHS called CDC. CDC means the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. They said statistics for those people who vape, and smoking is even worse. Vaping. In 2020, there were 2,807 cases for lung cancer and diseases due to vaping. 2,807 cases for people who are vaping. And you say to me, people say that vaping is less harmful than smoking. Where are we going? What excuse are you going to give? You're harming your body. You're still harming your body. You're smoking. You're still harming yourself if you're vaping. And you're making it even worse if you're drugging. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Allah Ta'ala protect the ummah. Our health is the main thing that we have. Jaan hai to sab kuch hai. Jaan nahi to kuch nahi. You have health, you have everything. You don't have health, you have nothing. Now vaping. Now, I've been told that in schools today, high schools, our children will take the vaping kit to school as well. School में भी ले जाते हैं. वालिदैन को कोई पता नहीं. What they'll do, a friend of mine told how our children take vaping kit to school. What they'll do, they'll put the vaping kit in their pencil case. Right? Telling them, my parents, this is my pencil case. It's all of my pens and my rulers and everything in here on the which vaping kit hoega. Another thing what they'll do, their jackets that they'll have, what they'll do, they'll put the vaping kit in their hoodies. The parents will not know. And they're going to school with vaping, with the vaping kit. And then at school, during the break time, during the lunch time, our children will be vaping and we will not even know. Khair, that's another matter. The question is, if you as a father is smoking, अगर आप वालिद सिगरेट पी रहे हैं और आपका बच्चा वेप कर रहा है, तो इसमें आपकी गलती है. You are wrong there. Because if you are smoking, if you are vaping, and then you expect your child to not do any of those actions, it's impossible. Kyun? Any action which the father does, the child imitates that. जैसे वालिद कर रहा है बच्चा उसी तरह करेगा. Now if the father is vaping or is taking a cigarette, remember the child will do exactly the same. याद रखें ये मसला. Now अगर बच्चा इस तरह कर रहा है, you need to look at yourself first. अपने आप को देखें, अपने आप को बचाएं पहले कि मैं क्यों कर रहा हूँ. I spoke to a father once. He's a smoker. I said to him, if your child smokes, अगर तुम्हें पता चले कि तुम्हारा बच्चा स्मोक कर रहा है, what would you do? उन्होंने कहा मैं लाल लितर लगाऊंगा, मेरा पुत्र स्मोकर है. तो मैं कहा हज़रत साहब आप क्या कर रहे हैं? What you do? Then no answer. No answer to that. We as parents need to think about this. If I'm smoking, if I'm vaping, I need to move away from it. Then, vaping has a nicotine inside it, this drug. This is an addiction. And then, this addiction, how does it affect you? There's a nerve in the brain called the basal ganglia vein. I did research before I came. This vein in the brain, what does it do? It affects you. It affects the thoughts of your brain. It affects the way you socialize. It affects the way you eat. It affects the way you think. This is the effects of vaping, drugging and cigarettes. Now, I did research, 40% of mental health cases are happening now is due to drugs and vaping addiction. 40% of mental health cases. What does mental health mean? I did a whole bayan on this last year. पिछले साल मैंने पूरा एक Jummah bayan, 2 Jummah on mental health. Mental health means when you can't think straight. You're thinking of killing yourself. You're thinking of doing harmful to your body. This is mental health. Now 40% of mental health cases are due to vaping. People are vaping left, right, center, thinking nothing's going to happen to me. Again, another one. How do I know that I am addicted to this? मुझे कैसे पता चले कि मैं इस चीज के साथ हूँ, वो मुझे छोड़ती नहीं. It doesn't leave me. An addiction, this could be for any type of addiction. Number one, what are the signs of addiction? Remember, if you have this inside you, that means you are addicted to that. आप उस चीज के अंदर आप मुलव्विस हैं, अपना हाथ निकालें, अपना कोई डॉक्टर के पास जाएं, go to the doctor, speak to someone. Number one, sign of addiction, that you can't stop smoking, you can't stop vaping, you keep doing again and again the same action again and again and again. This is the first sign that you are addicted to that thing. Second sign, that when you try to stop, the thing gives you physical and mental health problems. So for example, what people do, because they can't stop smoking or they can't stop vaping, will happen, they'll stop harming themselves. Apne aap ko, they'll start, I've seen people, children, and I met a girl in Burnage. She had a problem, and what happened? A family issue. It got to her brain, mental health. What she started to do, she started to get a knife and started cutting herself in the arm. Okay, this is mental health issues affecting our brotherhood, our neighborhood is being affected by mental health. And if we can't stop this, then we as a whole nation are a problem. We think my child is mada putar sab to best putar hai. Let me tell you, tada putar best putar nahi hai. I'm going to put it straight like that. Okay? Why? Because if your child in front of you, Allah Akbar, and he goes to school, he's chilling with the wrong people, he's smoking, he's vaping with the wrong people, your son is not the correct child. Sorry to say, I'm going to put it black and white for you. Okay? Now, the different types of vapes. Now you're going to call me a nerd, I don't care. The different types of vapes. I did my research, I was shocked. There's an e-cigarette called battery. It's called battery, right? Where they're smoking batteries. Subhanallah. There's another one, it's called tanks. Okay? There's another one called coil. And another one called e-juice. Subhanallah. The different types of vapes. I did my research before I came. Now, how much does it cost on each one? There is a cost for each one. For example, tanks. Someone does tanks, right? Is a £40 cost, right? Someone does coil, is £30 cost. Someone does e-cig on itself, is £10 cost per e-cig. I'm going to end on this ayat here. If you are wasting your money on e-cig, or you're wasting your money on cigarettes, cigarette is say that smoking kills. It says that smoking kills, and yet stop stopping. Quran says, وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ Allah ki raah mein kharch karo. Spend in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah says, وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ and do not indulge your hands in a tahluka. Don't take your hands toward destruction. Now what does this mean? The ulama have said, do not waste your money so much that you are destroying yourself. Now someone who's vaping, someone who's cigaretting, someone taking drugs, what is he doing? He's wasting his money. He's wasting his money. What benefit did you get? No benefit at all. Allah Ta'ala hame neek banne ki tawfiq naseeb farmaye. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to learn the deen, to act upon the deen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our children, our coming nations as well. Ameen wa akhir alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.